Hi, good afternoon. Jo here at WoolieCottage. Hope you're all well. So I'm down in the kitchen today because I've got loads of rovings to get dyed up for next week's shop drop. So I shall, I can't put you any lower, but I can take you back a bit and I will tilt you down to have a look at the dye trays when I'm putting new stuff in, okay? So I'm just dyeing up some, this stricken, no it's long. So just dyeing that up in some colours. So these will be used, hiya Liz, these will be used as rovings that will go in the shop next week, so that's what I'm doing today. I've just dyed up a load of rovings for art bats for the weekend as well. So I thought, well, it's been a while since you've been down here with me in the kitchen, and it's one of those days that if I don't get it done now, I'm not going to have a chance to do it the rest of the week. So I'm just, this is ready and done. So I'm doing 200 gram rovings. So I've just done that one there. So it's just going to go over here in the sink to have a little soak. A little bit of water in the bottom. So let's add a little bit in the bottom. I'll tilt you down and I'll try and keep an eye on any questions that pop up while I'm doing this. There we go. There we go. One large tray. So I need a scoop of citric acid. I use just a coffee scoop and I fill it with citric acid and then I just use about half of it in my tray. Probably, I don't know, probably equivalent to a couple of grams. Hi Sandra. In a second. Add as moderator. There we go, sorted. So yeah, so I'm just doing this now. So I've just done, it was either a rad knot or long. I think it might have been rad knot, I'm not sure, I can't remember. Actually no, that one was stricken. Do you know, I can blend, I can figure out which ones are which. This one is 200 grams of 23 micron count merino blended with a flax and tussar silk. So I'm just doing them widthways up my tray because I'm doing them as colour gradients. Well, for these first lot anyway, I am. So I'm just going to plop these in. So I literally just do a width when I'm doing these, widthwise for a gradient colour. I could do it in my pot, but I thought, well, you can't really see what's going on if I do my gradients in my big stock pot, because you need to be quite tall, high up to see that, and you can't really see what's going on. But with this, when you're doing a gradient with a roving in a tray, you'll find that your colours will sort of pinch into each other. As long as you don't mind that, then it's not a problem. There we go, and that's the last piece in there. Right, so I've already put some colours together for this one, and I'm going with, I need a dark grey. Where's my grey gone? Alpine blue. Hold a second. Valentine, steel, that one there, silver grey. I just need to put a bit of a grey in here, a darker one. So we have got a darker grey which is going down the bottom. So I'm just going to pour these in. They've already been done up in my pots. Okay, so these pots are 250 mils. So that's my stock base is generally about 250 mils. It starts to float up a little bit, so it becomes a little bit more heavier, or like higher, sorry, in water ratio on the tray. And now I've got an alpine blue here that I'm doing with this one. Then I'm going to go with, where is it? Oh, that's pink. Next one is lilac. that one in there. Next one is a dusky pink. There we go. And then the last one is a lighter shade of grey. There we go. So I'm just going to use my tongs and then just wash that down so the water starts to, the dye stock and the water solution start to saturate into the roving, and I don't end up with too many bald spots, because sometimes when you're doing it like this, especially you've got 200 grams of roving that you're dyeing at one time, it does tend to end up with little spots that haven't completely saturated. But I quite like that look. It gives it more of a rustic look. If I was doing it in my dye pot tray, I would end up with more structured, solid, coloured sections, with no parts that have been left without any dye on it. But when you're doing it like this, you've got to expect that you're not going to get it all completely covered in the same dye stock solution all the way through. And some of your colours bleed as well, they break up. Hiya Nature Lover, you're from the Philippines. Oh, good afternoon, or good morning, or good evening, whatever you are. It's night right now. Okay, well, it's lunchtime here in the UK. So yeah, so with some, especially with Dharma dyes, which are the ones that I generally use a lot more than what I used to, some of the colours do split, especially the lilac. That always splits, so you end up with this pinky purpley sort of shade that goes through there. So it's already got the citric acid in the water, so I'm just going to turn that on, let the heat build up, then turn it back down low, and then that should be ready to go. And while I'm doing that, I'm just going to pop over and get quickly rinse out my little tubs, because I need to get the next colour sorted out. So just bear with me a second. So I always make sure that I've got warm water, otherwise the dye crystals won't dissolve in the water. You can do it straight from the kettle, but I tend to just do it straight from the tap. And then I need to think what I'm going to do for the next colourway. So this is, when you start seeing the little vacuums of smoke, steam coming up, just turn your heat back down a bit so it's not boiling. But to be fair, that my dye stock that I put in here, it's not really strong. You love my accent, you don't know why. Oh, okay. It's a mixture of all sorts of accents, because I've lived all over the place. So there we go. So I've just got that in there. Let's have a little look. So you've got a light grey at the top, then you've got a pinky, a dusky pink, then a purple, and then a blue going into another darker grey. So that is what we've got going on. And the dye stock solution is already starting to saturate into the wools. It's had a really good soak this morning. So the wool and the fibres are really well mixed in and soaked and saturated. So the dyes from my pots of dye stock solution have soaked right into the wool really, really quickly. You love those colours, Sandra. Yeah, there's some underneath here. Look, here we go. So underneath, you've got these white patches underneath, but I don't mind that when I'm doing that, because I know to expect it. I know that when I do my dyes in the tray like this, when I've got so much fibre, because it's all compacted together, I'm not going to get a true 100% solid colour sections through this. I quite like that you're getting the natural colour that's coming through the bottom of it underneath. So like that's really nicely dark here, but I've got the cream that's underneath, and I think it looks really quite pretty when it's done like that. If I really, really wanted it to be a solid dye colours, then I would use my big stock pot, because then I'm in more control and there's more water in the pot to float around in between the fibres of the roving, that I'm going to get more of a solid dye stock going on in there, saturation, sorry, a dye saturation going into those rovings, into that fibre, that can penetrate it all the way through into the middle and all around it. Whereas when it's in the tray, you've got less control over where the dye's hitting, so you have to really be really quick, especially if the wool has been soaked really well. Then you start off with your citric acid already in the tray, so that's striking the bottom of the wool before your dye stock solution goes on the top. And then if you're not doing really, really strong dye pigments with a lot of water, I tend to just make sure that it's I don't end up with much more than, say, about a centimetre's depth in the bottom of my tray for water, so that I end up with something a little bit more airy-fairy rather than solid colouring on my rovings. But these colours, some of them have got like purpley backgrounds, some of the blues mixing in with the grey and you get a purple tint. You've got the pinky purple here from the lilac that always splits, so that is giving you a two-tone colour. And then you go into this pinky colour here, this dusky, which is already starting to mix with the purple, the lilac next to it. And then you've got this divide where you've got this natural going into the grey. So no, I think it's quite nice. It's different, it's unique. It's hard to replicate because it's never going to be completely the same. So that one, the water, the saturation and the water is completely clear in there. You can see that. It always blends up lovely when it's spun. Yeah, especially with, like, I sometimes feel that sometimes having really bold colours, then the little extra bits of the natural coming through it as well helps to soften it down. So there you go, that dye, you see how you can see the reflection of the bottom of the tray there? That dye stock's saturated away completely. That's ready now to go in the sink. So I'll turn off that and get ready for my next set of colours. And because that pan is clear, I can leave that water in there with the acid that's in there now from the citric acid. I can leave that in there now. Yeah, it is off. And just work with that without having to add any more. Excuse the state of fingers, I have been dyeing all morning. So I'm going to go with, I've got this one here, which is a really lovely blend. It is llama, viscose and a wool blend. And just make sure, I'm just trying to get to the end of it because, as I say, it's 200 grams, so I try and make sure I work with my ends. Now this time I'm just going to go in up and down. This one's going to be one of those dye jobs that are a bit, not wishy-washy, but the colours are a little bit more uncoordinated. So this is like what I would call a painted roving, whereas the gradient isn't. This one's going to have still stripes of colours in it, but you're going to get sections of it intermittent throughout the roving instead of in solid long sections of your wool when you're dyeing with, when you're spinning, working with it or whatever. You can still like break the roving up into different sections when you're working along, but this makes a really pretty roving, especially from a sort of selling aspect. So I'm on Pinterest at the moment. So I'm using Pinterest for colour ideas, because when I'm working with a lot of wools, I'm in a rush, or I may want to be inspired by something else. So I'm literally just on here at the moment, having a look, see if anything pops up that I might like the look of. Yeah, I've just done this one here, well, something similar. So you've got these tobaccos in these plummy colours. So I think I might actually do that again for this larger one, because the one that I've just done is for art bats. So I might do this again for actually these larger rovings. So I need a plum, a soft lilac, I need a browny greeny colour and a green colour. So that's what I'm going to go with. So it's going to be like very heathery is how I imagine this is going to look. So I'm going to go with Van Winkle this time, and I will have a look for dimmer dye pots over here. So I'll pull these over here. So I'm looking for a plummy colour. Though there's plum down, there's plum. And I think I will look for a third colour out of these sort of this hue. And I have got my reds in this cup at the back up here. Right, got royal purple, cayenne red. I am looking for a really lovely berry red. So I generally just use these as a bit of inspiration to sort of send me in the right direction of where I really want to get to. I don't want peach, I don't want purple, I don't want persimmon neither. It's Cabernet, but I think that's a little bit dark. I want this one specific one that I'm looking for. And it's got to be in one of these trays, these boxes somewhere. It's a really deep berry colour, and you can never find it when you're looking for stuff. Yep, not that one. Not that one either. Though I do need that colour out. I need that one out. Not in those pots. I wish it was in this one. With my purples. Nope, Delphinium. That might be a bit too pinky. I don't want that one either. It's always the same, isn't it? You can never find the actual colours that you really, really want when you're looking for it. No, I don't want fluorescent. That's not the path I'm going down today. I don't want that one either. Lilacs. Purple. There we go. Got that one. And I need one more, which is called tobacco, which is over here. So I am going to just get a little teaspoon and put a dash of each of these colours in my little pots over here. So we've got one pot here, and I'm just going to literally, there's my teaspoon. That's all I'm putting in there. You really don't need a lot. You don't want it to be overpowering a really, really strong dye pigment, unless that's what you're looking for. But not when I'm doing it in the trays. I'm never looking for really strong colours. Right, next we've got lichen. Is my next colour that I want to use. So we're going with these greens into these really strong, bold berry colours. Out of the way. Next one, very strong, bold Bordeaux. And then plum dandy. There we go. And then last, I am putting it in one called Van Periwinkle. Again, don't want a lot of it. And these are going to really have that autumnal, heathery, on the mountainside sort of feel about them. With the brambles, because it's coming up season for bramble picking. So it makes me think of that as well. So all these water pots are a lukewarm water. So I'll just stack those up because I have to go back in the tubs in a minute. And now I'm going to get them over here on this tray. So this time I've done the rovings. So it's up and down, up and down. And I do, it's 200 grams as a continuous roving. I don't split it. I don't split it to either I sell it or somebody just wants to buy 100 grams. Sometimes people want to buy 200 grams. Right, so I need the green first, and I'm literally just going to pour it in at this end here. Really carefully. Next, the tobacco. So I start from the bottom end because my house is wonky. So I always start from the bottom on my trays and then work my way up. So that if I started up this end, by the time I got down to the bottom, that top colour is going to be down here. So that's why I always work from my tray bottom up. That one done. Next I want this, I'm going to bring the lilac, I'm going to put the lilac up here now. Then I'm going to go in with the plummy colour here. There we go. And then in with this bright berry here. Now I'm just going to leave that back a bit because my water table in there is getting quite high for what I generally like to go with. So and there we have a nice rich looking selection of colours. Okay. So I'm going to push my die tray up that end first, because even though I've got these berry colours up here, I want to try and keep a hold of this green that I've put in here and then this sort of tobacco-y colour which always splits. So I want these colours to strike in there really quickly before I start on the other end, because they're all similar colours up that end. I want them, I don't mind if they end up bleeding into each other a bit more, but these ones I really want them to hold their colour. So because I want that, I am going to get a little bit of citric acid and just put that over the top. There we go. Oh, the light's on there as well. So how are you all this week? We haven't got as many watching this week, Sandra, so we should be fine, love. I'm going to stick the kettle and make myself a brew. Oh, and Mr. Phil a brew because he's over there on the armchair, quietly trying to tell Iona off and to get her to behave herself because she's a little minx. Because she knows how to play up when you know she needs to be quiet. So this is what I've been doing all day. So yeah, it's one of those days when I'm really, really busy. I get really, really mucky. I've just had the coal man turn up. He thought it was hilarious when he saw the state of my hand because they were turquoise about half an hour ago. So when I'm doing this, you can do yarns like this as well. And maybe it's something I have to do with you as one day. Is just do a little demo of some dyeing up some yarns in different techniques. I do have some skeins upstairs on some, I can't even remember what it is now. Is it some sort of merino, I think, Falkland merino or something. But I've got some yarns upstairs. Maybe I need to do that one live chat and do that as a sample so you can watch along and do it over a couple of sessions instead of doing it as a normal video. I don't know, actually I might do that as a back to basics video next week because it's something we've not really delved on when it comes to the world of crafts, is it, on my back to basics videos. And I do have quite a bit of dyeing that I need to get done over the next couple of weeks, so I might do that as a video for next week. I definitely need to get a video filmed up. I'm not in the mood for weaving or tablet weaving at the moment, so I think it might be the best way to go is to do a back to basics video on dyeing just to get you going. But if you want to watch any of my dyeing videos, you can go over to my Patreon and become a member for £3 and you can watch them and access them from there, where I do videos that go along with a theme of different colours that I'm dyeing up. So because I've still got some berry left, I'm going to have a look now to see if I can find anything that's got a berry colours in there that'll look nice. So I'm back on Pinterest again. I'm just going to type in a search for berry colour palette or colour combination. One sec. Right. Search for ideas. Berry colour combos. I'm just going to turn this down a little bit. Okay. So what we got? We have got some berry combinations on here. Lovely colours. Thank you very much, Tracy. So I'm now going to look at these and have a look, because I've still got some of that red berry left. Now I could do a berry gradient on a roving, which might go down well. But I think I don't really want to go down the green route with it again, because I've just done that. I could go red and greys, or I could go berry with the navy blue. That sounds nice. This one here. That one there, I think, is the one I'm going to go with. So you've got this really dark navy blue, you've got a really deep purple, you've got the berry colour, and then there's an ice blue in there. So yeah, there's two different types of blues. So I think what I will do is put my dyes back. Well, I'll give these a rinse. What colour was that? That was, oh, the plum. So I might go plum again, but do it with the dark navy blue. Adjust that around, and then water down this berry. That'll be cool. So we've got them done already. That plum, I think I might add a little bit more to it. Is that right here? It's Dharma Dyes Plum Dandy. And no, I'm not a retailer of theirs. I'm not being sponsored by them. They're just the dye stock that I use on a regular basis. I have used dyes like landscape dyes and stuff like that over the years, but it's not something that I actually update on a regular basis. Not as often as I used to. Right, tobacco leaf, that one in there, and purple in there. So I was needing a really dark purple. So I have got a deep purple here. And I'm just going to top up the water. And another pot here. And that there. Wash that out. And I need the spoon. Need the spoon. Spoon's always handy. There we go. So I need a dark purple. I've already popped up those ones. So dark purple. That over there. And I'll give that a stir in a minute. I want a deep navy blue, which I do have in here. There we go. Navy blue. So I want some navy blue in this pot over here, and then I need an ice blue. So I will have a look for a dye called Baby Blue Eyes, if I can find it. Indigo, frozen blue. Actually, frozen blue will do the job. Frozen blue is just a little bit. I don't need a lot of it. I just want enough to colour the water. But it will penetrate the wool really, really quickly. So there we go, that's that done. That can go back in there. Turn the kettle off and I'll make a brew for us too in a sec. So I'll just get these colours done. Give them a little stir. And these. And then that's me ready for my next colours. Pop that over there. Stick them there. Move my computer out of the way before I get it covered in coffee in a sec. Right. Elizabeth, so Dharma dyes, landscape dyes, protein dyes are all acid dyes suitable for materials. I could do with a refresher because I keep thinking about more in a natural dyes. Maybe Patreon question. Yeah, stick it on the Q&A's on Patreon over there now, Liz. But yeah, and it's something I talk about all the time. It's a question I get asked all the time. You guys need to start taking notes. But yeah, well, Dharma, right, so the differences between them, okay. Dharma dye is just a dye pigment, okay? Landscape dyes, which are these landscape dyes from Australia, okay, that you can get from Wing and Wool. Those ones, and the gay wool dyes from the threshing barn, those two types of dyes come already with citric acid in the dye pigment. So with that in mind, can I claim mental brain fog? No. If I'm not allowed to, you're not allowed to. Right, so with dyes like Ashford dyes, acid dye, well, they're all acid dyes to a point, right? Don't even think about cold water dyes, right? Because it's something I don't use that often. But acid dyes. So if you go to a company like Kaleidoscope, which are north-based, you can get them. Usually sell to big companies that are milliners and make hats and stuff like that, but you can buy them as a person off the street, but you have to phone them up and place your order. It's really quite complicated. I think overly complicated, but that's how they do it, because they usually sell to bigger companies. Right, so you've got Kaleidoscope dyes, you've got Dharma dyes, you have got, there's a French sounding one, but I can't remember the name of them. There is Ashford dyes, there is another brand as well, can't quite get that at the tip of my tongue either. But those are all pigment dyes. So when you buy a pot of dye from them, that's in there is literally just the dye pigment, okay? RIT dyes, yes. No, RIT dyes are completely different. RIT dyes are completely different. RIT dyes are what you use in your washing machine. They're made up completely different. They do have the colour pigments and everything else from wool dyes, but they are manufactured in a different way, okay? Plus you put salt in the washing machine to be able to work with them. Completely different, and I think they're based on a cold water dye. Right. No, acid dyes are completely different. They've been used for the last 100 years, thereabouts, when they realised the inventing of actual acid dyes, and that you could use citric acid with them. That's what's in there. So, companies like what I've already just mentioned, Dharma, Ashford, Kaleidoscope dyes. There's another one called Colour Something, and that's in the northeast. They produce dyes and dye pigments that you have to add citric acid to, but because the citric acid has not been added to the dyes, you're actually, if you're buying a 50-gram pot of dye, you're buying a 50-gram pot of dye, okay? Which means it'll go a lot further, last you a lot longer, because you don't need a lot of it, and it's at its really good strength. Now, if you buy from a business that has gay wool dyes or landscape dyes, Will do their own dyes as well. They're just normal citric, the pigment dye, not the citric acid. But if you buy Dharma dyes and landscape dyes, these ones here, right? Landscape dyes are known as Kaleidoscope dyes as well on Wing and Wool. These, you get 20 grams of dye pigment that's been mixed with the citric acid. So technically, you're getting most of that weight's from the citric acid than it is from the dye powder. Now, the best thing about this is if you're a beginner from buying landscape dyes and gay wool dyes with the citric acid already in there, it means you don't have to go looking for other resources, okay? It means that you can literally, from the off, then turning up in your post, you can get straight to dyeing with that without having to worry, oh, I've not got any citric acid, where am I going to get that from? I've only got brown vinegar in the house, I haven't got white vinegar in the house, how can I go any further? Right, so, but with what I do, I use what they're milliners dyes that are used for dyeing wool at hat shops and clothing shops and warehouses and factories and stuff like that, where they dye a lot in vast quantities. And they add in the citric acid, which is just a hydrated lemon juice. It's a food grade. It's not poisonous in the house. You can use it for making bath bombs and other accoutrements. But it's what helps that dye from the Dharma dyes or from the Ashford dyes adhere to your wool. RIT dyes are completely different. They generally are a washing machine dye, or a dye that you can dye your clothes in a tub with cold water, and then you add your salt in and everything else. It's not something, I don't think I've ever used any type of RIT dyes before. Might have done years and years ago, but I can't remember. But yeah, there is a slight difference. Not in the fact that landscape dyes and gay wool dyes are not citric acid, but when it comes to the amount that you get in comparison to the price you pay, makes a massive difference when it comes to doing this as a business or a side hustle or whatever it is that you want to do. If I was you, and I'm doing it as a hobby like I did when I first started out, landscape dyes are your way to go. You can get in touch with Wing and Wool that have just changed location from Yorkshire, and I think they've gone down to Gloucester, or is it Wiltshire? One of those two places. They've just moved their warehouse and changed location to a bigger place. And they have the landscape dyes, and they sell the Ashford dyes as well. And they do 20 grams for about £3.50 a pot. Now I can go and get my Dharma dyes, which change colour, or depending on the colour, depends on the price. So say a standard true black costs me £3.65 for 50 grams in a pot. I could get a true turquoise, and that would cost me £5.35 for a 50 gram pot. All my pots are 50 grams, but the price varies depending on the strength of the pigment and how true the pigment is. There's some of those Dharma dyes that are about 10, 11 quid at the moment, but it all depends on where they're sourced from, like the pigments to make them up. Some of the dyes from Dharma dyes, they've now been experimenting with making them so you can actually do ice dyeing. So you get your ice cubes and your snow, and you cover your wool in it, and then you put your pigments on it, and then when it's dyeing through or melting down on your wool or your fabric, then those dye pigments will split into different shades, which can make some really pretty and amazing looking items. So if you go onto Instagram and go and look up Dharma dyes, you'll find their American store on Instagram. It's really quite entertaining watching them, and they bring out new stuff all the time. So I hope that answered your question, Liz. Go and pop that back over on my my Patreon, and I can add that for next week's videos for the Q&A. Though I'm definitely sure we've covered that topic before at the very beginning. Right, so this one is all done now. And I do have some little bits of white in the back, but again, I'm quite happy with that. It's got a very autumnal look to it. You can't quite see now at the moment, but you've got the purples in there. I've got the pinks. I've got the tobacco-y sort of orangey colour in there. And I've got the green that held true. Right. Bear with me. Mr. Man, you will have to go and get the milk out the fridge. Really helpful, and yes, please, Patreon if it's okay. Yes, stick it on Patreon. We'll do it again. Right, so cuppers for everybody. There's his cup. Stick your cup down. Bear with us while we make a break. And then I'll get the next one on. So I think I'm going to dye up with these colours. I've got merino bamboo there. So I think that's one I'm going to go with next. Oh, milk. Yeah, I'll do I've got merino, I've got 9 of these 200 grams to do today. So I've only just started.
You put sugar in?
No, I haven't done sugar in it yet. Do you know? You're lucky I've got this far.
I'm lucky you're making me a cup.
Yeah, well, yeah, he's lucky I'm making one at all. It's like as rare as unicorn farts having a cup of coffee made by Jo in this house. Unless it's for herself.
Yes.
There we go. Right. Yeah. Me making a cup of coffee in this house, like, if anybody knows me, it's as rare as unicorn farts. Iona, stop eating yourself. Iona. Honestly. He's been sat over there all the time, Sandra. Sandra says hello to Phil.
Hello, Sandra.
So, watch out the way, you. And I'm just going to get another scoop of my citric acid because I'm on a clean tray. And because I've just boiled this kettle up, I'm just going to put some cold water in there. And the wool is all sat in the sink at the moment, soaking away in some, I just add in a usual fabric conditioner. I don't use any wool washes or anything like that because there's actually more enzymes in your wool wash liquid than there is in just some fabric conditioner or some shampoo or something like that. But I always use a dash of just half a capful of fabric conditioner in my sink. Right, so we're going to get this one done next. So this one, I think, again, we're going to do an up and down dye tray. So I'm just going to see if I can find the end of this wool. Is that the two ends together? There we go. There we are. So up and down. So we end up with those little bits of colours that come in and out instead of large solid colour sections on the roving. And this is 200 grams that I'm putting in. So I start off with the ends, both ends together, and then I end up with, at the end, that bit. Yeah, Sandra, he came in literally 3 minutes after we finished talking yesterday. Yes. Right, so where's my computer? Right, so I've got this berry colour palette going on. So I'm just going to roughly follow the theme that's on there. So we've got a mid blue, we've got an ice blue, then we've got the berry, then we've got this deep purple, and then we've got this navy blue. So I'm just going to follow that colour theme along on here. So we've got this ice blue. Well, it's not really an ice blue. It's going to be quite a dark blue. But if I just use a bit of it here, right, then I've got that bit left. And I'm going to pour in some water to get a lighter shade of that there. Iona, will you get out the cat's biscuits?
Come on now, over here.
Honestly.
Iona.
Right, so that's me got the light, the mid blue, and then the icy sort of blue because I've just watered that colour down. Next I want my berry pink. So we've ended up with two berries. We've got a berry and we've got a plum. So I'm just going to put that along there. I'm not going to go too close to the blue yet. Take that over there. Might as well add that in. And then I'm going to go with my next berry colour. Just a little line across here. That'll do. And then I've got my purple, which I'm not going to use a lot of it. Put that along there. There we go. And then we have my dark blue here, the navy blue, and I'm just going to put that right up into there, over the top of all that blended wool. Now, just my fingers, make sure it's getting into all those wiggly places. Now this is the bit I want to be really gingerly at because I really, if I can help it, don't want too much of that bleeding into that blue, which is quite dramatic. So there's my dye pot on again. Hold on a minute, I'm just going to poke that down so it's got a bit cover in it. Make sure, just open up a little bit and make sure these colours get in there. With your fingers. There you go. So just let that do its own thing. Tracy said, lol at Unicorn Farts, only in Yorkshire and Derbyshire, yeah. Yeah. I'm from other side to Pennines, Tracy. If we're counting on heritage, my mother's a Lancastrian, well, from Warrington, but she still counts herself as a Lancashire lass. Hiya, Bridie. She still counts herself as a Lancashire lass, even though it's under Cheshire now. Yeah, don't get her started on that blinking soap wagon. But no, I'm half Highland Scots, half Lancastrian. So I'm on other side to Pennines, but my sister was born in Yorkshire. Did live there for about 6 months when I was a little kid. There we go. I love that berry red in with that really bold sort of light blues. It really is really striking. So it goes from a navy blue into the purple into two sort of tones of berries, and with that really striking line of that ice blue. That's really quite nice. I might have to use some of that ice blue again in a bit, actually, on a different roving. So I need to turn down the heat because my berry colours are spitting. We'll just turn that heat down a little bit, and I might move that up now. And there we go. So has anyone got any questions or queries or anything like that that you may be a bit confused about what I'm doing or why I'm doing it? Yeah, you never know. You could be. I don't know. So I thought it'd be nice to be down here for a change. So I'll be going in about 10 minutes time. Might be enough time for me to get another roving on the go. So let me see, what colour have I got left over from that? I have got plum. So again, if I go back into Pinterest and see if I put, not berry combinations this time, but plum combinations and see what it says. See what it gives me. Plum. See what it gives me this time. Probably very similar to what we've done already. Oh, there's a nice one. But we've done purples and greens this morning, so I don't think I want to go down that route. But there's one with a peony in it. Not a peony, it is a ranunculus. So there's a ranunculus with purple in there. I could go mauve and plum, but it's more of a berry plum than it is an actual plum. What else have we got? We've got fig. I did fig in art bats last week, so I don't want to do fig again. Go away. What else have we got here? Anything that really float. Olive and plum might be nice, but it's a very pinky plum, so I'm not going down there neither. That appeals to me. This is one that's more of this one here. It's got this antique-y sort of look about it. Let's have a look at this one. So when you go onto Pinterest, it's really great because it gives you alternative ideas to something you may have seen, but you're not quite that's what you're looking for. But it gives you different things. This one was trees, and now it's given me options of different types of inspirations from trees. I quite like this one here, this blue one. Quite like that. And that looks like, what? Yeah, so you pick one inspiration and it throws loads of other ones nice to you as well. But I quite like that bright blue one. That bright blue one's nice. I might go with that. I've got at least 6 more of these rovings to get done today. That's for sure. Now, a few more of these. And I've got to find space to get them dried. There we go. But knowing my luck, it was forecast rain this morning. We've not had no rain, but I bet you bottom dollar, as soon as I put these out in the washing line, it will pour down. Right, that looks like that berry colours nearly. Your hubby's from Stockport. Yeah, it's not far away from where my parents are now. Mum was from Warrington now. Well, that's where they live now. We lived all over the country growing up, Tracy. So, yeah, I've lived all over the place. I've had an Essex accent, I've had a Lancashire accent, lived outside of Blackpool, lived overseas growing up. So, yeah, I've lived everywhere. Lived everywhere. Right. So what do I do with my wool afterwards? Well, I was really lucky to be given a spin dryer. And it literally I literally put my wool, once they've been soaked in the sink, I just quickly squeeze them out of my hand. And then they go down in this corner where I have got a little a little washer spinner. And it's a dry spinner, and it literally gets my wool to dry. So when I take it, there we go, that little thing down there. So when I put it out on the line or in front of the fire when that's lit, if it's cold enough, because if I put it on now, it's going to feel like a Swedish sauna in here. If I can get this stuff out in the line, it'll be dry within about half an hour, 40 minutes. So when you're doing a lot of dyeing of wools or yarns, one of those is an absolute lifesaver. It really does. I mean, you could stick it in a spin cycle in your washing machine, but I would advise you to put it inside a pillowcase because it'll end up everywhere. But because it's a very slender cylinder, a bit like what you find in the old twin tubs, it keeps everything vacuumed, and the vortex of the pressure from inside the spin dryer, they don't move. You've just been on Pinterest. Thank you for more inspiration for your crochet blankets, Bridie. Yeah, it's a really good place to go looking. You can look for yarn colour combinations on there as well, Bridie. You know, when you go on Facebook and you see sometimes people have put up posts where they've got like these little balls of yarn in the different colours, but it's the colours of the name colours, so you can actually go find them on Wool Warehouse and go over there and have a look for the actual ones of style craft and stuff like that. It's really quite good. One of these dogs has just done a trump, and it proper is stinky. Oh God, blaming dogs, go away, you stink. One of them's just trumped it. Honestly, it's woofy. Right, so that's that one done. Yeah, Pinterest. Sometimes I forget to go on Pinterest. The other way you can do it is literally go onto your search engine, click on images at the top taskbar, and type in colour combinations to blah blah, or coastal inspirations, colour images, and then start taking out colours out of those. I did that. I'm doing that at the moment over on Patreon. On my storyteller bats, and instead of using images like those where they've got the colour inspirations at the side, I'm picking the colours out the images, and that's where I go into a little bit more detail on my dye pots over that way. So you're more than welcome to come over and join us in. You can join as a free member as well, and that helps support me. But you can join up, you get your first week free, and you can either be a member for £3 a month, or you can be a member for £5 a month. So there you go. So that's me, Dog Move Love. This is going in the sink now. It's turned out really quite nice. This is going to be a really yummy roving, this one. So you've got dark navy blue, you've got a dark purple, going to berries into a frozen colour. So that's done. So that goes straight in the sink for a good soak. Whilst I get on with the rest of the ones that I've got to do. So that's 53 minutes I've been in here. Thank you ever so much for your support and coming over and joining me today on my YouTube. I have 3 jelly bag things, spin sets with a 50-gram bat and a 3D printed Turkish spindle that I make. Stickers, sweeties, and a jelly bag. Got 3 of them left on the website to give away for any orders that are £25 or more if you're interested. Once they've gone, they've gone. But it doesn't cost you anything. They're getting put in the orders straight away, and there's no code needed for that neither. The Christmas advents are on the website. Now you've got literally 3 weeks until I take them off the website for any pre-orders, and if you want to pay in instalments, this is the month you need to do it, because after that I can't cater to it at all. So yeah, so thank you very much. I won't be on Instagram on Saturday. I'll be there on Sunday because my granddaughter and our daughter, eldest child, is coming up this weekend. So we're going out for the day on Saturday. But you'll catch me on Sunday anyway while I'm getting everything ready for the website shop list. There'll be rollags, there'll be some 3D printed items in new colours. There'll be rovings and there will be art bats for next week's shop update. Okay, so take care of yourselves. Thank you very much for being here and I will catch you soon. Don't forget to hit that thumbs up and like and subscribe. It doesn't cost you anything. Bye for now.